Let the good times
we're live.
roll.
Hello,
Big,
hello.
big love and
What's
respect,
up?
everybody. Here we go again, ladies and jellyfish. PK and Chris on the dance floor with me tonight. And we're just kind of free flowing. I want to hear some of PK's adventures. And Chris is always bringing rabbit warrens to the surface. Much needed. Much needed. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. And check out the hat on PK.
Indiana
you.
Jones over there. Like it.
Yeah,
Right?
man.
It's like I'm gonna go pull some weeds, or am I?
Either that or maybe you're going to renegotiate the Panama Canal for us.
Ooh, I like that.
It's like
No more China.
Big love,
Mike.
Z.
Sir Lab, James.
Big respect, everybody. Thanks for
What's
coming
up,
along
y'all?
tonight. Yeah. So, PK, you went to Montgomery, to Alabama. Did you visit the tree?
I went to Montgomery, Alabama. I visited what was called the Battle Sycamore, because Montgomery is the capital of Alabama. And so one morning, I was like, hey, why have you guys ever walked around the Capitol before? And they're like, no, and so we did that. And it was actually pretty freaking cool. Like, Montgomery itself is a pretty crappy city. Like, it's run down, and like, it's not uncommon that you'll be driving down the street and like, oh, there's a house that someone just stopped taking care of, or there's a storefront that someone just they just let go to shit. So it's got that like rundown, and a very southern city. If you've been in the South, I use the term city loosely, but it's a southern city, very spread out, compared to the northern cities. But that's what I like about southern cities, is that they're spread out.
Yeah.
But very rundown. The state capitol was so cool. They had an eternal flame going for freedom, which was cool. But you could hear the gas flowing, so that it was interesting.
How long has that been going on? The flame?
Forever, bro. Forever. No,
Yeah.
I think it was it says it was erected like 1969 or something, somewhere around there. So not crazy long, but yeah, it did have the date that they like.
Where's like the famous one of that? Is it like is it one in Yale, or is there one for what's his name, Lincoln, somewhere?
Oh, an eternal flame for Lincoln?
I thought there was either Lincoln or there's something in Yale that the brothers. I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing two different ones.
Yeah, I'm not up to speed on all my eternal flames.
Maybe
JFK.
might have been yeah, that's right. Yeah, JFK. Yep. I think about 2 weeks ago on Essential Salt's channel, he breezed over some aspects of the Greek history with having eternal hearth. And in the Greeks, like every family had a sacred hearth inside of the house that you had to keep that flame alive. It was like your family legacy to keep your family hearth burning at all times. And the goddess of the hearth is Hestia, and she's the keeper of this sacred flame. And it's the sacred flame. Sometimes it would be in a private room that if you're not in the family, you don't even get to see the fire, and it's that protected. And so that was kind of on an individual basis for different families. But then also in Greek history, there was a sacred flame at the temple being preserved by sacred priests, and only people who were like of the utmost purity could even have the honor of being in the presence of the fire. And now keep in mind, what I'm talking about has probably popped up in this city and that city and here and there and everywhere in history. But Essential Salts was talking about a particular sacred hearth that the Christians came and snuffed out that fire, and that it was a demoralization campaign to the pagans in the area when they snuffed out that fire. It was like captured the flag. It was kind of like captured the flag. So he was talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Those pesky Christians always ruining the fun. but yeah, that was cool. The eternal flame, and I was like, how does it stay eternal if they have to like change the gas tank? And then we were like, oh, it's probably connected to a gas line that is filled by other means. I'm like, yes,
Eternal.
that's certainly it. So what also was really cool about the Capitol, real quick, was that they had every state flag there. So all of the 49 other states, and there's of course in the middle, but then under each state flag, they had a piece of stone that was, we think, native to that land. So, it was really cool to see. I don't know if it goes as far as to like every state has its own, the state rock or whatever. I don't know if that's even a thing, but each state had its own stone, and they were all different, and their state name was carved into it underneath their flag. And it was really neat. It was really pretty, like well done, set up, and like Wyoming's looked crazy. I don't even know what kind of rock it was. I wish I knew my rocks better, but that was pretty cool. And then of course there was like old Confederate stuff, but yeah, it was always fun to go, check out a state capitol. And so I'm like, took my monocular. I'm like, I got to zoom in on the Masonic symbolism, and all that stuff. So it was fun. Yeah. For that.
You kind of think of the keystone, like a keystone with all those stones. I mean, it's very Masonic, just having the stones in general, right?
Yeah, totally. But so the reason I was there though was for a little music festival, which was whatever, is small, and anyway, it was fun. But I'm curious if you guys remember a couple years ago there was a brawl in Montgomery at a ferry boat, and it was like this black guy that and like these redneck drunk people got off the boat. The security guard was telling the people to move, and let me just pull it up real quick, because Gabe, you said you hadn't seen this, and that just blew my mind.
Yeah, that totally slipped by
Chris,
my radar.
do you know what I'm talking about?
I might have to see it to remember it.
See what is up with this. All right, so hold on.
My excuse is I don't do any of the Twitters or the Facebooks or whatever. So,
well, yeah, I guess that could be a good excuse. So let me see how to do this. Present, share.
And guys, if I ever bounce off here really fast, it's just because I'm still taking care of the cat.
right, man.
So she's behind me, just making sure she's good. She's in and out. We don't really know what's gonna happen yet.
Man.
Mm.
It's any kind of improvement since yesterday? No.
Damn. She's old though, but yeah, it's I mean, it's rough.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but let's see this. Is this the screenshot you actually put in the Telegram before the full Montgomery brawl?
Yeah, the dude throws his hat up. It went like viral.
Oh, see, right. I don't know if I know this either.
All right. So see, then the dude throws his hat up, and they start fighting. And I'll go in like 2x because who cares? And then so then the drunk white dudes, and all that guy was doing was telling them to move because there's this ferry boat that the people are filming on that needs to dock right here, and they were drunk people coming back from a day of fishing and drinking, and they just started fighting. And then so they see like the white dudes jumping the black guy. And I say it's like white. Look, and then someone jumped off the boat and is swimming over to help.
What?
I actually think I remember this.
Yeah, dude, it got wild. And then a bunch of other people, well, a bunch of black people come in and join in. And anyway, it's a big shit show. Okay. So anyway, that's that. And like, and oh, actually, you might could see. We got action, brother. Okay, so like right
Dude,
Anyway,
big ups to
right
the
here
dude just jumped in the water, man. That's bragging
Yeah.
rights for the rest of your
it
life.
was great, and they blew it up into like a big race thing, because if you know some history about Alabama, Montgomery was where Rosa Parks thing went down, and you know it has maybe the beginning of the civil rights movement, you could say, is in Montgomery, Alabama. That's not like a far out claim or whatever, like, so just showing this, everyone was like, oh, it's white people versus black people, and it's like, well, also it's like it's like drunk idiots versus people trying to help
Yep,
or
concerned
whatever,
citizens.
kind of.
Totally. Yep.
So, but anyway, when I get there, I walk through this tunnel, which goes under like a railroad track. I walk out to this, and I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about this. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is it. I was like, I'm here. I'm at ground zero. This is where the brawl happened. And so it just blows my mind that you guys, like, chat, I'm not by myself. Am I? Like throw a 1 or something if you guys have heard of this or saw this before. It happened like 2 years ago and went viral.
Yeah, man.
But drop a
I do
1.
I do remember it after when I saw the guy jump in the water. That kind of shook my memory. But there's other ones that there was like another one in the lake where it was like a lazy river that I remember more than that. It was like where kids jumped a guy. He was like an older man, and they made it into a race thing as well. But I think the older man wound up having to stab one of the kids because they were like beating the shit out of him. They were gonna like drown him.
Damn.
So, but it was made into like a race thing. Same thing.
Man, that's so intense.
Yeah, but I'll say, like, and I think I even may have heard this or could be making it up. I'm not sure, but anyway, I want to say that being in Montgomery and being in this little festival, you can see here in the background actually are like these old silos that I think because the train tracks are literally right by it. So I think they used to store feed in here and would, load it on the trains or whatnot. So, but that's kind of where the festival was back there. But and there's also now a bar right past the trees. Well, you can't, I'm not sure my screen anymore, but it doesn't matter. So this bar, like kind of where the festival was. One thing about Montgomery is that people make it out to be like, oh, the birthplace of civil rights or whatever. It is one of the most integrated cities I've ever been to, meaning like there was white and black people, and it could be because they have a large black population, maybe, larger than normal or whatever, or average. But like it was one of the most integrated cities, and like there wasn't, at least I didn't see, I'm sure there might be somewhere, but I didn't see like a black people bar or like a white people bar. It was like everywhere I went was pretty like 50-50 almost. Or there was more black people than average, whatever the population is. Yeah. So that was really cool. And everyone, it was like good vibes all around, and like and that's one thing I heard about this was that, I feel like it was someone from Montgomery was saying like, yeah, the funny thing is, like, as far as that like racist white versus black shit goes, Montgomery's like one of the most like over that places.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's kind of funny when you dig in deeper to like what actually happened in that brawl. It was about the white dudes were freaking drunk. They were like super drunk and just being belligerent. And the security guard was telling them to move because the freaking boat needed a dock. And then they started shit.
Yeah, man.
Now, the 100 other people who jumped in, whatever. Did everyone need to do that? No. Did everyone need to smash some chairs and stuff? No. But like, it just weird. Weird and kind of cool that it's a very seemingly integrated city due to like the history that it has, the dark history you could say that it has.
Mm-hmm. You know, the time of year is kind of pinging for my synchro mystic senses. As you know, we're moving. It was August 5th, a very special day for some of us, and that's right on the cusp where we're at the end of Cancer, which is a water sign, and we're moving into Leo, which is a fire sign. And the Cancer is also in Cancer is where the boat is. That's where Argo Navis is in Cancer. So this chariot card is basically the sacred ship. And that's kind of apropos because one dude jumps off the ship. The ship was part of the whole confrontation in the first place. And the one guy swims into to do battle.
Yeah, the ship is the vantage point.
Speaking of the
Yeah,
ship,
that's what we're on the ship watching. You're totally right. Yeah.
Speaking of the ship, did you make that graphic of your Enneagram and ship after or before the Brooklyn Bridge
Way
thing?
before, buddy.
Wow,
Way
man.
before. Yeah,
it is
man.
very just like that picture, you know. I know there's not a bridge in your Enneagram ship, but just like the angle, the like, you know, rows of sails that it has, like very crazy that
It's wild, right?
came to fruition.
I am going to totally downplay this for the sake of time more than anything. But I think you guys have a sense of the feeling that I get all the time that I am fucking Jim Carrey in the Truman Show and somebody's fucking watching my shit and putting out psyops.
That's why I sent it so fast, man. I was like, we've seen this all the time. Gabe's always popping this ship up. Here we go.
and we were just talking about the ship of Theseus on our, you know, on some of
let's pull up that picture just for those who haven't seen. Gabe, can you get to it quick? I'm not sure if I can.
Let's see. Yeah, I think
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, let me show real quick.
Yes, I call it the Truman factor, and I joke about it. But I tell you what, guys, I have to work hard to convince myself that I'm just some chump guessing at the wind. Nothing that I say is important. Nobody's paying attention to me, but every once in a while, the news is looking right back at yours truly. Very specifically looking at yours truly. And this one really hits the chord for me.
Oh, is this yeah. So here's a ship that smashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. What last week or something?
Yeah.
When was it? It was
about 5 days or 7 days ago.
Yeah. And then here's the shirt that's like has
3 days. 3 days ago, I think. 3 days back.
Well before the fact of this picture.
Yeah, man.
And it's just weird to see a ship, you know. I mean, well, first off, how often do you see ships like that anyway? You know, there's with all those sails like that's, you know, because it was a Mexican like naval ship, you know.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I've never seen. I mean, I live right. My brother lives in Jersey City, or he was living in Jersey City for a long time, right on the water over there. Never seen a ship like that ever.
yeah,
ever.
I have to point out that the ship is overly illuminated. I think a lot of people picked up on this if anybody watched the clips of it, but I just want to give it some slick dissident context. And that I believe that the dismantling of the Argo Navis and breaking it into 3 different constellations for the sake of the IAU, I believe that this has much to do with a grand psyop of global proportions. And the message is that they are breaking up the real shiny ship. And this real shiny ship is the number 1 constellation of them all. It's down south, actually. But by breaking up the real shiny ship that was the Argo Navis, they have also broken up our relationships. And amongst your community, your family, and even amongst yourself. You know, the scale of the psyop of what I believe that the dismantling of Argo Navis was it validates, substantiates, reinforces the entire Jordan Maxwell uh, uh, claim. You know, the whole sovereignty movement. It really points to that. And there's a part of me that is like, if I could leave my mark on the world, like if I would have to abandon all my other projects and ambitions, and if I could have one wish to make change in the world, I would get a movement together, a consciousness movement, to address the IAU and force them to put the Argo Navis back together again. I think that would be a crucial legacy. I think that would be a crucial legacy. And yeah, who's with me? I'm taking this goldfish. Who's with me? Who's coming with me?
I'll sign your petition, sir.
All right. Gonna improve the really shiny ships in the world.
But
it's interesting. It looks like the lights went out just like the same way in the former bridge. What was it? The Dolly hit I guess it was called Dolly, the other ship that hit the bridge in
Baltimore.
I don't know. It was like Baltimore, yeah. And the lights all blinked out all at once after it hits, and it looks like the same thing happened with this one.
Yes, and there was high synchro coordination when that ship happened.
Oh,
I don't even remember the vast web of continuity that the Baltimore ship crash brought forward. Had much to do with the Hermit card and the Moon card, which Hermit is 9, Moon is 18. And the ingredients of the Baltimore crash was fitting into the number 9 on the Enneagram in a lot of ways because it was slothful. That's why. Think of how slowly that boat crashed into the bridge. It was slothful. And the number 9 on the Enneagram is sloth. Yeah, that was a wild one. And this one is trippy because we were just talking about the ship of Theseus, guys. We were just talking about it.
Right?
It's so intense. Yes. Synchro mystic life ain't nothing to joke about.
Yeah, that was a good one. Well, another little synchro that happened to me too is where we stayed in Montgomery. The house that we rented Airbnb from happened to be the house of the band that we went to see Friday night. Like we were scheduled to go see them. We were going to go see this band Friday night anyway. And then we get there and it's like written that, oh, me and my wife, you know, we started this band, Electric Blue Yonder. And we're like, oh shit, we're staying in the band's Airbnb. So that was kind of neat.
Oh, cool.
And it was fun. But
and we were just talking about the band constellation being the string that attaches the two fish on Pisces. That's pretty neat. I love knowing that.
Did either of you guys look at the name of the ship?
What ship?
The Mexican ship?
No, what is it?
It was, I don't want to say it wrong. Let me, Cuauhtemoc. It's named after an Aztec ruler of Tenochtitlan. So it's all Aztec in its symbolism, which is interesting.
That's right.
Especially with all the Aztec connections to like the eclipses and how they had their eclipse rituals. And it apparently means eagle ruler.
Okay. Wow. That really coordinates to the Mexican flag.
And we also just made the eagle our, I mean, I don't know how it just happened, but apparently we just made it the United States official national bird.
What? Oh, wow. Yeah. It was not official till recently?
No, apparently it wasn't. It was really weird, but I think this past year they just did that.
Dude, that is trippy. Well, I want to point at the colors on the Mexican flag on that ship are the standard green, white, and red. And I have learned that almost all of the flags that hold that color schema are Mithraic countries. And that says a whole lot. That says a whole lot that the Mithraic countries have the Mithraic color schema. But I have a short list that come to my mind right away. The Welsh flag is red, green, and white. But also the Palestine flag, y'all. The Palestine flag is red, green, and white. Might be some
And
black.
Italy,
Italian.
like that too?
And I
Yeah.
think Italian. Yep. And Italian, which is Grand Central Station for Mithra. Totally Grand Central Station for the Mithraic rites. Yeah.
This guy actually was the last Aztec emperor, which
Okay.
is, and it says the one who descended like an eagle. So descending eagle is actually his name, and it said he attended the last new fire ceremony, making the beginning of a new 52-year Aztec calendar. So I guess it was the last 52-year cycle,
Huh.
which that's fun for all of us.
Yeah. 52-year cycle. That's like the weeks of a year extended into the year category.
Yeah, there's a lot of the Aztec, their whole culture and what they were doing with the eclipse ceremonies. I think they had something about 5 eclipses where kind of like we just had that were
Oh.
super significant to them, where they would make all these human sacrifices. Silas did a whole like write up on it that I'd have to find to even remember half of it. But it was called something. It was called it's almost like a ceremonial thing.
Wow. So I'm not sure if I'm understanding. Was it a year that had 5 eclipses in one cycle?
Let me check real fast. Aztec 5 eclipse cycle. Aztec 5 suns creation cycle. Is that what it is? I think it is something like that. I don't want to say it's a year, but it might be man, I don't want to say if I don't know for sure, but it's close. Like it's close in the way that we had that close number of eclipses that were in alignment. I'm
Yes.
sure James probably knows Kaplan.
Yeah, man.
Just like waiting for him to throw me a bone here in the chat.
Yeah. The Aztecs, I read a book, fictional book. I might still have it. The title was Aztec, and it was profound. It was super profound. And they say, pretty sure they say, no, I think it's the Mayans. The Mayans had a first technologically advanced time frame, and then they regressed. It's like everybody disappeared, but then the people from the country came into the cities, and there's all this technology in the cities, but they're all country bumpkins, and they don't know where the first wave of Mayans were. And I love that myth because sometimes I think we are doing the same thing, and even in a single lifetime, the metaphor still applies that you walk into this world and there's all this stuff going on, but you don't know where it came from or how it actually operates. And I even think of like how Socrates was going to everybody in the market and asking them why they do things and what to define the things and these concepts of virtues. And everybody's like, I don't know. Stop asking me so many questions. He's like, how come nobody knows how things work? And it's almost like they came out of the woods, occupied the cities, and just started going about their stuff and presuming to know. And he's actually trying to get down to the bottom of it. But I was thinking today, what if Socrates asking everybody about the definition of things and what is the essence of it? What if at some point in time, we're way beyond this level of benefit, but what if once upon a time, the benefit of what Socrates was on about was actually, why don't we have definitions for words? And wouldn't it be great if we made a dictionary? What if Socrates, in all of his questions, was actually just kind of drumming up the need for a dictionary, a state-sanctioned list of defining terms? Just a thought.
Could see that he was maybe the playing with philosophy back then, doing like a language masturbation.
Totally.
It's like, y'all, we need a dictionary.
I know.
Speaking of,
Oh, go ahead. Go. Sorry, PK.
well, I was gonna switch up. Do you have something?
I was just going to say that I feel like, Gabe, you brought this up before, and that we've sort of talked, just glazed over it, how it's like very similar to ChatGPT, the way, like a large language model, AI language model, the way he asks questions and gets responses.
Isn't it
So,
something?
yeah, so it's very, I just think that's fascinating every time I think about it.
Yes, I want to say this. Socrates is the mystagogue of science. But if you go in front of academia, they're going to get butt hurt because you use the word mystagogue. They want you to say he's the demagogue of science. That, whatever, to each their own with that. But this is the grand patriarch of the Socratic method of asking questions, of knowing that you know nothing at all. He's got a gluttony for answers. He can't get enough answers. And Nietzsche did not love Socrates. I always say the Socrates was the devil on Nietzsche's shoulder, you know? And so I think you're so right. You're spot on, Chris, that engaging with this glutton for answers, engaging with this mystagogue of science, I think that that the AI agenda is fueling scientific optimism into horizons unseen. And that scientific optimism is that there's nutrition in these answers. That every time I ask AI or whatever, I'm getting more. I'm growing. I'm getting more power. Information is power.
Mhm.
But it's insatiable. It's totally insatiable. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I think Nietzsche was telling us, do not do not let Socrates take you so far down the garden path, so to say. So yeah,
Well, I think that's one of the biggest. I don't know. It's not a psyop. It's the biggest like spell, I think, to convince everyone that science and philosophy are separated, are two different things, when you cannot have science without philosophy. Now, okay, you'd be like, oh, well, no, you can measure stuff, but it's like, it's all about what does it mean? There is philosophy at the bedrock of science. Otherwise, your calculations don't mean shit. You know, what are you going to do with them? So,
right.
and you know, it goes, you could just look back to 1800s. They used to call it natural philosophy, you know,
Right. Yep.
on the
Yeah.
nature of things. So it was like, and then, you know, so it's a pretty recent thing that people are convinced that science, you know, and that's how people have the right to say, oh, science is a new religion. But, you know, people are convinced that science and philosophy have nothing to do with each other. And it's like, man, they are so intertwined, you don't even know.
Yeah, buddy.
Exactly. I mean, that's what Steiner was all about, uniting the two again. So was Jung. I mean, so many people wanted to try to bring them back into a more cohesive state. So this Aramonic AI mind virus, hive mind didn't come about.
That's the thing. They are connected. You can't disconnect them.
Yeah.
The issue is that it's like hidden, or like it's not in the front of things. Like people will use their scientific discoveries to philosophize what it means, you know, hence the earth, you know, was created 4 billion years ago.
Yeah.
That's kind of philosophy.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know,
and we have the mathematics, which
of
is
the
like John
creation, you know,
Yeah.
and so it's so separated now that it's like, no, that's science. Like, no, the hell it's not. There's nothing scientifically that you could prove that the earth was created 4 billion years ago. No, that's philosophy.
D. Exactly. And
But
we
it's the same thing, you know. So
remember
anyway,
when
it
we
just
brought up
irks me,
the
but I know most of, you know, kind of talking, preaching to the choir here. Most of you guys all kind of are on board with this sort of thing, but yeah, that should be taught in school, you know. Again, that's the rub, that it's presented as if they're separate things these days.
Look at that. The Ivy Leagues began as religious institutions, then switched to entropic
You're
systems.
muted.
Oh,
and do you remember when we were talking about cryptology and everything like that? I mean, that was all
You're
from
still.
Am I muted?
check. Am I good?
Is
Am
it
I-
me?
Hello.
I hear you guys. Do you guys hear me?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yeah. PK, do you hear me?
It could be me.
Everyone hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear all you.
Okay.
PK,
Does
are
PK
you?
not hear us?
PK might not hear me.
Yeah, it's PK's
There's
speakers.
There's happening. So I want to mention. I want to comment on Peter Shell's observation here. This right here. So I want to mention Peter Shell and everybody who's interested. I believe that the Ivy League schools. Oh, I should save this for PK. I should wait till he comes back.
Yeah, save it. Save it.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay. All right. Yeah. This is
All I was saying before you were saying that was we did kind of cover all, like, a lot of the religion science. I feel like it's all the cryptology and the cryptography, and what was the other one? When it's hidden in images, I can't even remember it now.
steganography.
Yeah. I mean, that all was from a religious point of view at first. Like, it was all coming through channeling and divination and whatnot. So
Yeah. So PK, I wanted to wait for you to come back. Can you hear me now, buddy?
My bad. Yeah, I can hear now. I don't know what happened.
Okay. All right.
just
Big up.
happens sometimes on the site.
Kyle's in the house. Kyle's in the house. Okay. So I want to
Yo, what up?
share. I want to share, and I do have graphics somewhere in my archives, but it would take me forever to find them. I believe that the Ivy League schools are the 9 worthies. And the Ivy League schools were essentially 10 plus kind of a late, or no, I'm sorry. There were 9 principal schools, and there's one outlier. And I don't know if it was the first school that is an exception or if it was the last school that was an exception. So when I say 9 Ivy League schools, I am aware that there was a 10th outlier of some sort. And I forget its history. It stands alone for some reason. But I think that the 9 worthies of the Knights of the Round Table are mantles that have been passed down through academia. And it would take me a long time to kind of go through the heraldry of the different schools and the heraldry of the 9 worthies. And I think I could find a hand in a glove fit for the Ivy League schools and the 9 worthies that are they're a mythological Knights of the Round Table order from ancient days, and I'm sure, like, JFK's Camelot thing was kind of riding on that structure, that framework of these 9 worthies. And then let me say this also. Machiavelli, his civic design had a council of the 9. And so this Machiavellian way to organize civic cohesion is rooted also in a council of 9. And so, yeah, all of these things are just, me and the Enneagram. I'm always keeping my ears to the ground on all that. So I just wanted to share that I think those Ivy League schools at one time, in that, like Peter mentioned, something else happened after the Civil War with those Ivy League schools. So whatever these mantles were, maybe it all changed with the Civil War, and maybe my formula doesn't work after that, after the brother on brother. Just a thought.
That's deep. I don't know anything about the Ivy League schools. Well, I mean, I know a few of their names, but I don't know why they're called Ivy League.
Because of their laurels. They got the laurels of Apollo. Oh, wait, no.
But why Ivy?
No, wait.
Why not
Cancel. I totally misspoke. Ivy is Dionysus. I'm exactly wrong. I was totally wrong. The laurels are Apollo. The ivy is Dionysus. And so what I think they're pointing at is the drug trade. I think so many of the schools are actually built up on opium trade, and it's so many of them. The Skull and Bones thing is basically, pirates keeping control of the spice routes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that.
I mean, it seems like in a lot of these Ivy League schools, you get most of your psychological operations that eventually work through them, like the Franklin Institute being placed at Columbia University, I think it was, when it was brought over here and started pushing out. I think they were the first ones to actually publish anything on global warming, just making nonsense for everyone to fight over. And it's still happening today. I mean, look where, like, the majority of these college protests and everything happen that are really publicized. Yeah. It's not Ivy League schools.
Yes. Is there an antithesis of Ivy League? Is there a what are the other options in the league categories? Okay, and also I want to let me see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I feel like Cornell was the outlier, but this is old research.
How many did you count?
He's got 8 listed here.
Yeah, so I see 8, and then like there might be 12 now, but I that maybe is like way more modern thing.
Right.
Um,
Yep. Yeah. I think my
Yeah,
theory, my theory only holds water in a certain time frame of the Ivy Leagues, but I'd have to dig deep.
This is
Yeah.
interesting that it says here in 1935. This relates to what we were just talking about. The Christian Science Monitor used the term Ivy League to talk about the older colleges. So, like, you have the Christian Science, you have this combination of religion and science here, calling the oldest colleges Ivy League, which I know that's not there's more of a reason than that. But
Yeah. You know, in the Bible, it says like that the gospel is the column, the pillar, the order, and that the Luciferic agenda is a ivy plant crawling up it, dependent on the structure of the schools.
I mean, and then there's the point. Like,
is the Latin name.
What is
which
it?
Makes sense. You know how the the scientific name, like Kyle just shared, is Hedera, which is Latin for ivy. I wonder what the Greek is.
There, well, like you said, there's a goddess, right? Like almost like what poison ivy and Batman would represent. I feel like that's probably the closest.
I got it.
I mean, with the poison is like really what I think it's going to be closest to in the end, at least for us.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, before we move off of the Aztec thing, I wanted to say one or two more things about it. The Aztecs, actually, their word for God was Teotl. I think that's how you say it. And it was actually an energy in motion. So they also were already combining this force. They had this almost never like eternal flame or source of energy that they didn't really know where it came from. Apparently, that they said that they worshipped. That was never supposed to go out. And then this last emperor, which is the same name as that ship, apparently is there at the fall of the civilization when everyone goes to war with each other.
Man, you know that the ever burning flame kind of makes me think of of verbs, of having a verb centric soul and less noun centric. You know what I mean? I think that so many things about trying to get into the ancient mentality is to realize how crucial the verbs were. And I want to point out how it was the crow's nest that got taken out on the ship. And I love the crow's nest. That is the coolest part of the ship because it is from the crow's nest that the best astronomer on the boat needs to be. And the guy up in that crow's nest, he's got the highest knowledge. You know, he's got to know these stars, and he sees the longest distance. He knows how to communicate in codes from afar. You know what I mean? And I'd even imagine some of the crow's nest guys might even had hand signals that they were communicating during a storm. You know, when people can't hear them yelling, they have to be able to use sign language too. And I just think it's so profound that it was the crow's nest that was taken off the top there.
And I wonder if that's the guy, if there was someone up there. I don't think there was anyone up there, but I know 2 people died. So I wonder if those were the positions, if they still have these types of positions on these older ships like that.
Right. Yeah. Be interesting if they were actual crow's nest operators.
Gabe, you might remember this weave from a while back, but of the crow nest, cunning metis etymology weaves.
Yeah, man.
So the metis council, you know, that's what the guy in the crow's nest is. He's, you know, guiding. Oh yeah, that was with the poverty. But so see, cunning, directing. This is about the goddess Metis. So the cunning and Metis so down here, a knowing daemon who steers
Myth
the
and
world, plotting just like a pilot guides the ship over a sea.
Oh wow.
So the cunning intelligence. This is about Odysseus. Inspired by Athena, knew how to deploy in his navigations. It allows the pilot to steer straight and find the passage, the poros. So see, the sailor must display metis, which, you know, goes back to the cunning counsel of it all. And let's see, metis is common noun, refers to a particular type of intelligence, an informed prudence.
Interesting. Nice.
Yeah, where was the other one? Okay, the poros was the passageway, but I had one of the, yeah, and this gets into the boule is the counsel of
Yeah.
evidence that, you know, you could say the guiding, steering, whatever. But yeah, that was a old one. Good to bring back up an old one.
Yeah, that's like the navigation center, the navcom.
Yeah. So I looked up the word for ivy in Greek. And it's very interesting. So from the Latin, the hedera, going to the Greek, you get this word here, which is condano, because it's Kai, Andano. And what's neat about it means to take in, to hold, contain. So it kind of makes sense. Think about what ivy does, right? It grows on things, it grows around things, it takes it in. But isn't that cool? So that hedera word comes allegedly from this, you know, Greek word, and around it in the Lima list are to take in, that's the word here, to take in, hold, comprise, contain. And then kind of right next to it, a similar word that's like condone, is with mouth wide open, greedily. But you know, it just makes sense how ivy sort of can encompass things. You know, you got kudzu around here in the South that just totally overtakes everything. I would imagine that's a form of ivy. It sure looks like
interesting
it, right?
how all these words sound like English words, like condone or katsu. Like, I mean, you're condoning someone, you're cutting them off. You're kind of, it's all of these things. It's exactly how the Ivy League schools act.
Yeah, and isn't kudzu is like an invasive species of plant.
Right. And I don't even know if it's an ivy, but I mean it acts in this way. It just, I think of kudzu from this word, you know.
Yeah.
And just thinking of what ivy does.
Yeah. You know, and I wanted to mention back, kind of going back to the video of the dudes fighting on the dock. I just want to mention one more ingredient that I slipped through the cracks. On the chariot card, which is Cancer moving into Leo, right, is the glyph for the word chet, which means hat. It actually means hat. And so the fact that the guy throws his hat off iconically, and they were making memes about it, and he's on a dock trying to make way for the boat. I see a ton of chariot card symbolism, and it's so profound that it was in the time of year again. You know, that's really something.
So kudzu is not ivy, it's a vine.
Okay.
So thank you, internet.
Yeah, man. So I have a few slick distant graphics if you guys want to take a little poke through my doodles from the week.
Heck yeah, man. You know, so I was thinking of a word, and here's what I got. Plania centigram. Plania centigram. Or we could go long A and go Pliny centigram.
Pliny centigram.
And
I
then
love it.
I think you need to, the ship in the Enneagram's cool,
Uh-huh.
but can you make a placenta in an Enneagram? I think this is
Mhm.
what the world needs, because it's like your right hand and your left hand, Gabe.
Placentiogram.
It is. It is.
Enneagram, I like
Plus-
that too. That kind of rolls off the tongue better.
Placentiogram. Yeah.
Yeah, that is good.
Enneagram.
I dig it, guys. I totally dig it. Oh, here we go. Here, check this out, y'all. James is on it tonight. Check this out. I have this written in my notes at like 5 different places, and I've tried to memorize these. These are the 7 distinct stages of the Mithraic initiation.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, it goes in this order: Raven, Bridegroom, Soldier, Lion, Persian, Sunrunner, and then Father. But yeah, that is a. I think we see this progression in film sometimes. I really do.
Absolutely. I mean, I think absolutely. Even if they're not doing it on purpose, it happens.
I don't do consultations, but I do have some ideas for some consultation services. So thank you for asking. I don't know if you're in the Telegram, but maybe I'll put a link for my Telegram at the bottom of the show notes at the end of tonight's show. So you can reach out to my Slick Dissidents Telegram party and we'll connect there.
See, even that word, though, consult. You got your cunning metis. Your
Right.
consul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. I'm going to take you guys on a little tour of some of the doodles for the week. Let's see. And here we go. So yeah, you already showed this one. This is so fun. And I just got to mention the Dumbo. Something about the area that the event took place. It's called Dumbo. I think that might be the docks that the footage was taken from.
It was also, they had the boat at Pier 37, I think. I don't know if that does anything for you, Gabe, or PK.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. 12th prime number, 37. Gurdjieff had the law of 3 and the law of 7. And I have found this truism in a great amount of my research around the prime numbers. And also 37 is the latitude that I pay a lot of attention to. Most people will tell you the 36 degree is the Mason-Dixon. I put it at the 37 also. But yeah, 37, it goes right through the Golden Gate Bridge, 37 degrees, and it goes right through the Strait of Gibraltar. It goes through a great list. So yeah, 37 is very significant. And then this one, this is what I wanted to show. We've had a crazy week, y'all. And they just get crazier and crazier. But you guys saw this headline with Comey?
I saw you when you put that in the chat. I think I had asked, was May 15th, what was the date? What was that supposed to be the date for? The date that he was testifying?
No, that's the day that he posted this picture of 8647. And the internet is so on top of things, they count back from the day he posted it, 8,647 days ago, and it was September 11th exactly. And
so why the hell did you do that on that day?
Well, for what? Well, it's like they're constructing the elephant on the other side of the veil that the 3 blind men are always feeling. It's like they're making sure that whatever people are feeling on the other side of the veil has consistency. But it does. It kind of looks like they're doing some kind of count, a day count from 9/11, right? And ritualizing the day count and making how many days since 9/11 into a ritual in and of itself. That's pretty far out. But also right around the same time that Comey drops whatever, this little ritual trauma reminder. Somebody on the internet did a comparison of Timothy McVeigh and this FBI agent Paul Weissapal. Are you guys
I
familiar
saw
with-
that.
Yeah, that's creepy. I mean, I'm okay if it's just a coinkydink, but damn, that is an unfortunate, most fascinating coinkydink. And then this is the map of the runways where on Reagan, Washington National Airport.
That's straight up Blair Witch Project.
Isn't that straight up Blair Witch Project?
I just looked it up. I did. It's exactly.
It's exactly
Yeah.
exactly the Blair Witch Project. And one thing that was Twilight onboarded in the phrase Blair Witch Project was that it was a blur to watch the project
Mhm.
because the camera was so bonkers. You remember? The camera was uniquely bonkers to its impact in our consciousness at that time. Like, you never see movies where the camera is jostled here, there, and everywhere, and extreme zoom on her boogers as she's crying in the tent. It was so unique, the camera work, very unique, but it was all a blur.
There's something weird about that number. I don't like the 9/11 thing for some reason.
What do you mean?
I don't like how the
Up
first
here?
thing, the first number being a different color
Yeah.
doesn't fit in. It doesn't fit for it. Almost is like, is that even a number? Is that an S? S647 is a ship. Like,
yeah.
it's just, why? I don't know. Why wouldn't it all be black?
Right. These are all clams and these are all oysters also. Like, there's something very intentional about that.
Yeah. I mean, 47, we do have, like, obviously there with the presidential number, what Trump is 47 now. But the first two numbers are throwing me.
And let me just throw down the 86 is radon. RADON. And guess what its abbreviation is? It's the same abbreviation for nurse. RN is the abbreviation for radon. So we have radon and we have
Wait, so you have
silver.
radon 47?
Radon 47.
Radon, like raid.
Raid on
number, radon president 47. Like, it's also that.
Yes,
which is interesting.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah, that is kind of trippy. So this was just a weird little epiphany for me, having to do with a whole bunch of other research, but I just wanted to kind of share this one, that the iconic image of Miscarriage. What's his real name? Miscavige? What's his first name? I forget. The head of Scientology.
Is it James? I don't want to say James. It's not.
Yeah, I forget his first name, but whatever, Mr. Miscarriage here, his iconic imagery is him in front of this Scientology building.
David. It's David. Sorry.
That's it. Yeah. And likewise, some of the most iconographic images of the Joker is him in front of Arkham Asylum. And that's just really consistent. We'll just say it's really consistent, because if you miff this guy off too easily, he will lock you away. That seems to be the modus operandi of the Scientology clique.
It disappeared his wife.
And disappeared his wife. Yep. They've been paralleling his disappeared wife in cinema in a few places. I keep seeing, I forget what I was watching recently, where I'm like, they're totally paralleling the Scientology missing wife drama. Okay, and here's another one. This is just a new graphic amalgamating a great amount of information around my adventures with the number 186. And I've shared this with you guys. The 186 is the number for the lunar standstill every 18.6 years. And then PK, you blew my mind when you pointed out that the field goal has a distance of 18.6 or 18.5 feet, or also measured in 18 feet and 6 inches, right? And so
Yeah, totally. I think that's got to be a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yes, big time. Well, it just was one more detail I wanted to add to the list was that is allegedly the speed of light. The speed of light is 186,000 miles per second, which I doubt most of us here believe in that, but it is very consistent that they're claiming the speed of light. And okay. And down here, this very bottom little gematria, adrenaline and the word 19 are the same value in septenary. And that is rewarding for me because I'm constantly seeing the adrenaline is in the number 8 in my endocrine Enneagram correspondences. And number 19 is the 8th prime number. And so that was just something I wanted to put a little note for myself down there. Adrenaline and 19 are both 30 in septenary. And then this one, fellas, the headlines, there's so many headlines. It's like it's a din of information, it's a deafening cacophony of information. And this one just popped up, I think yesterday, that Texas has finally made the vaccine manufacturers liable for any injuries. And
whoa, that's big. Go ahead.
yeah, isn't that big? And headlines like this, they just don't get the amplification they should get because of all of the hullabaloo going on. It just kind of comes and goes like a little blip on the radar. I see this as very, this is kind of the first good news we've seen in a long time. And I get a feeling of a glimmer of hope. And then I look down at the fact that it took place in Texas and I'm like, oh, damn it. There's the dove of hope is on the tower card that is correspondent to Texas.
So said another way, that means that they lifted the state of emergency, the EUA. They lifted the emergency use authorization, which, totally shielded anyone and everyone involved in all that from any liability.
Yes.
So that headline could read, if I'm right, that headline could read Texas lifts the EUA for whatever's, and now, it's back to a fair, air quotes, fair playing field where they're not completely shielded from liability.
Right. So just some gematological fun that I have. Right away, I saw that VAXX is the same value as ANEX, which is not how you spell annex. But I put them side by side here. They're both 17. But if you spell annex correctly, and it's full ANNEX, it comes out in ordinal to 58. And so does a vaccine comes out to 58. So yeah, I just kind of threw these together. And this one is really stretching it. This is totally stretching it. But I'm looking at VAXX, right? And I'm like, well, X is a 6. There's another 6. And I'm looking at the VA and I'm like, oh, well, if V equals 5 plus A, then this is a 6. But that's totally stretching it.
I don't think that's not too crazy.
Yeah.
That counts here.
All right. Thank you.
We're good with it.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about this headline as, I've been kind of only half joking that, Texas is going to secede from the Union, but I don't think they have to fully commit to outright secession from the Union. They can just instill policies that are antagonists enough to Washington, that it might as well be them rebelling. You know what I mean? In a strange way, nobody really has to break away. They just need to put their foot down on the policies enough that, people are willing to put their life on the line to make a
They need
stand.
to figure out, I think the key is to figure out how to stop sucking the teat of all that
Mhm.
federal money.
Right. Yep.
Once a state can figure that out, then like, oh, what are you gonna do? Not give us money? Well,
Yeah.
we got it figured out. But
Yep.
that's why right there, they don't think they can survive without it.
Without getting fed by the Fed.
Right.
And they're in denial that we're all fed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, the problem is a lot of them probably, well, they're so used, like you're saying, they can survive. They're just so used to getting all this extra money, and they have so many jobs that they're paying like themselves to do nothing. Almost all these people who work in government. I mean, that's part of the reason I think, I mean, it's all a show, but the idea behind the Doge thing would be so that wouldn't be happening, I guess.
Right.
Not like we're seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not really seeing it. I mean, we're kind of seeing some of it, but it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna ever play out the way any of us would want it to play out.
Dudes, I am still completely flabbergasted that we found the heraldry of the Venice of the Doge of Venice on the Thoth deck tarot hermit card. That is the craziest thing ever. What else? What else? What else? It just drives me bonkers because now I'm like, how many other tarot cards are a good fit for heraldry out there? I have a few guesses. Like the Lover's card fits with Francois de la Rochefoucauld. His family heraldry fits on the Lover's card. And so, yeah, that Doge find was intense. And it makes me think that there's some heraldry template that I don't have. And the closest that I have to this heraldry language that is just beyond my access, the closest thing I can point to that gets to this heraldry dimension is these damn tarot cards. I need to study heraldry, like intensive heraldry research.
I'm still chewing on that one. Why the Doge word, if it is connected in some esoteric way to the Doge of Venice, like why?
Yeah.
I still don't really know.
And also the map of Venice is in the Tower card. The Tower card has the map of Venice in it. And so maybe I guess what the common thread is Venice here, that I'm finding it in the Tower card, the map of the city, and then we find their heraldry in another Tower card. Yeah, it's fascinating. And it makes me want to go back and read Dr. Farrell, William P. Farrell. His Babylonian banksters work is pointing all fingers at Venice.
There's you guys remember that pyramid picture, of the under the pyramid, supposedly it was took with the satellite, whatever. Well, they say like the structure like that with a bunch of pillars is under the Venice too.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
let me find
that's
my
another
graphic.
interesting connection.
I'm gonna find a graphic. You guys go ahead. I'm just gonna be digging this one out because it'll be worth it.
See,
Yeah.
there was something I just put in the private chat that was I don't know if it's going to actually take you to the file. It's not. But if you go down on that page, it will, Gabe, and you'll see kind of a blue figure that looks like the reverse of the orange. What was that orange card you had up for the ship? I think it was, or it was you just had it up. I gotta find it now. It wasn't with the ship. Maybe it was with Comey.
Which one did I have with?
It's
Comey?
the one that kind of looks like the fire and the eye is at the top of it. And
Tower card. Yeah, Tower card.
yeah, so there's like a blue version of that in reverse that's an Aztec card. And I do think all of this, like even the Aztec religion and the imagery there, it's Babylon. It's Babylonian, Mesopotamian. It's just moving through all the cultures as the sea people probably were spreading around.
Right.
There's a lot of Aztec imagery, actually. If you look at the cards, especially the Crowley deck. It's interesting.
Here, and you know, I wonder if this heraldry is also intrinsic to the publishing companies. You know, I've found book covers after book cover after book cover that fits into tarot cards, but I don't think the tarot cards are the end all be all. I think there's a heraldry code behind it that I don't have the master cipher to.
Like even that last one that I just sent is like, it looks like the shield that's on the one card is the shield in the guy's hand. It's like, it's very, there's a lot of so much Aztec stuff. It seems like.
Why are you sending them in private chat and not showing everyone?
Oh, it could be. Yeah. Here, I'll present it.
I got you guys. I got you guys, chat.
I didn't want to stop him from finding what he was looking for right now.
Yeah,
Because this is, but I'll stop it quickly once he does find it. But here's I'm sharing it now. The one card with the shield that Gabe would have to look at to tell which card it is. But I know I can't. I just don't have the memory of the card number down. But if this part now that looks like that shield that it's almost like isn't it a bowl of water that guy holds in that one card?
Oh yeah, the
chariot card. Yeah, there you go. So then there was this one, which was here. Am I sharing the right one? Yeah. Let me move this up. And this was the one where I said if you look at it in reverse, it's almost like the tower. I think it was the tower card you were saying, but it's blue.
Yeah.
You have that same sort of. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, I think it's very Babylonian, like you were saying. I mean, it makes sense coming from Crowley.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that is an interesting graphic right there. All right, give me a second. I so want to pull this one out, but it's going to take me a minute because I have so many graphics. I have so many graphics. It's ridiculous.
Digging in the archives. One day, Gabe, I'd like to see you make one.
Because
it's like you do it all on your phone, right?
Pretty much.
Man,
on the fly as I learn.
I'd like to just be a fly on the wall and watch Gabe create one of these monstrosities.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, this isn't perfect, but it's not perfect, but it will make my point all the same. Okay, let me do a little share real quick. I'm gonna keep looking for the best one, but here we go. This is the map of Venice that fits very.
See it right away.
Don't you see it right away?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
You know what would be interesting if all heraldry. I see. I'm speculating. I'm super speculating. But what if all heraldry has a control panel or council or a boule of people who determine heraldry? What if it's centered out of Venice? You know.
I mean, that might make sense actually.
Yeah.
Especially with the. I mean, yeah, that actually might make sense. There's a lot of. I guess genetic evidence saying like the Hebrews are actually like kind of from the area of Italy.
Right.
So there's like, I mean, that would mean basically like the sea people are essentially now centered in Italy, but have spread everywhere.
Yeah.
But that's their home base.
And somewhere in the many memes, somebody put together a list of extremely influential historical personas who all lived within 20 miles from each other in Venice. And it was like Sigmund Freud, and I want to say wasn't Stalin. Who's the other?
Lenin?
Lenin. Yeah, Lenin, Freud, and maybe 6 other people it was all heavy hitters, super heavy hitters, and they were all from Venice. At one point in their life, they lived in the same neighborhood in Venice, basically. And I just want to make this more significant to everybody. And also, anchor it into my own research. Venice is sometimes referred to as the city of epicures, which is a real high-minded, highfalutin, backhanded way of saying the city of gluttons. And so,
And think about the merchants of Venice.
yes.
I mean, that should tell everyone everything they need to know.
Right.
Uh,
And so gluttony in the Enneagram is the number 7. It's the vice of number 7. And so this is the 16 card reduces to the 7. And it is expressing gluttony in a really fascinating way. I actually, can you guys see, like, if this is an eyeball, right? And this is the ear, this is a gigantic open mouth eating the castle, and then this could be also a gigantic open mouth, maybe throwing up. And in the Epicurean times, a lot of the aristocracy would eat themselves to gluttony and then they actually had vomitoriums. They had bathrooms where you would go and throw up all the food you just ate. And
these were the lungers, the Doc Hollidays, the they looked like vampires because they would get so white. Maybe that's where the Ivy League school comes from. The people dying from consumption.
Right.
Doc Holliday. There's a movie that I just came across Doc Holliday and got into why he was so pale from consumption, because the movie with Val Kilmer actually looks like it's pretty good. I want to watch it. Tombstone, it's called, where he plays the gunslinger Doc Holliday, but he's pale as hell and he's like sick the whole movie from consumption.
Yes, I love that movie. That is such a good movie.
And the more I look at that card, dude, the more I am convinced that that's Aztec, like almost the whole thing.
Yeah, that one totally fits that graphic you pulled up in a lot of ways.
Even the eyeball, because the eyeball is in the middle of a lot of the X's in the Aztec imagery. I mean, the Aztecs had such a big, insane system of symbolism.
Yes.
And so
it's
you have,
almost like overwhelming,
It is. And then you have the connection to Spain with the Aztecs, obviously.
Oh,
and
right.
So it's like right back to the merchants of Venice.
Yeah, I got a graphic somewhere that actually has a image of the underwater element, or like it's a cross section of Venice, and it actually shows those underwater pillars that PK, I think you were talking about.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And big love to Rachel out there.
I'll be your Huckleberry. Yeah, that's what he says before he shoots someone usually.
Okay, here we go. I found it. Yay. Okay. So thrilled. Okay, one sec. Let me get back. And this is the most recent version of my Venice, my gluttonous Venice.
They call Venice Beach, California, now Silicon Beach.
I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't know that. I live here still, obviously, but I still call it Venice Beach. But that is interesting if they call it that.
Yeah, big time.
It's not great down there. A lot of meth.
Yeah, that's where isn't Venice Beach is where White Men Can't Jump was filmed, right?
Probably, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was where American History X, weren't they?
I'm sure.
Beach.
I'm sure. I mean, that's where like Muscle Beach is too.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that is interesting that American History X and White Men Can't Jump have the same location. But yeah, this is a graphic of the broken pillars, the broken columns that are, I believe I read that they're only 16 feet under the water. And I thought that was interesting because this is the 16.
Yeah, this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me of, isn't there like something similar to this in Wisconsin that they found in one of the lakes?
What did they say that's for? Was this like pre-water, that water wasn't there or something? Do you know much about these things?
I don't know much about it, but I mean, it's so curious. Like, look at the timbers, it looks like all these timbers are laid out. I don't know.
Yeah.
That building looks almost like the Capitol building, but it's small, so I can't really tell.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't it behind it?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I wonder. I bet even even the mainstream explanation is interesting. Whether it's true or not, it's got to
Yeah.
be like
What do they
something cool.
what
'Cause,
do they
like,
say the pillars are?
why are they there?
I don't know what they say that the pillars are. I really don't know what their explanation for them. But I will say this: that the phrase "drain the swamp." We think that we know what that phrase means, but I'm here to tell you it's going all the way back to Venice. And there is something really profound through history about the bankers taking shelter in swamp territory. And, it might be because there's certain entheogens that can only be accessed in certain uh, uh, geographies. That might be it. Some people say it's because the bankers are lizard people and they need the swamp. um, but I think it's actually tactical. I think if you read back to Moses leading the Israelites across the Red Sea and then letting the Red Sea flood the Pharaoh to take out his pursuers, I think that's kind of been applied tactically in city planning. And so, like having a moat so that so people can't, you know, infiltrate your sanctuary. Yeah, just using the moat and uh, the environment in a to marshal the marsh of the environment uh, to take out your enemies. That's kind of what I see with the draining of the swamp as a larger spell.
It is.
Oh, we lost BK. I didn't even see him go. It's nice knowing you, bruh.
Did
I'm
they
here,
say
I
what?
what help
Did they
out.
say what material the pillars were underneath the?
I think wood. I think they're wooden.
Yeah, it is interesting then because there are wooden piers underneath the rock lake in Wisconsin that has like similar underwater structures.
Ah,
They have like rock pyramids though, and then wooden type poles. But I don't know. It could be just also wreckage on top of pyramids.
dude, what if submarines have been at it way longer than they're telling us, just like Zeppelins, right? Like when you look at the history of the Zeppelins and the airships, you're like, oh, damn, there was about 100 years there where they were up and running that we didn't even know. And that's being conservative to say that they had airships. I think Abraham Lincoln was actually accessing airships in the Civil War, and the airships have like so much lost. What if there's the same thing going on with submarines? And what if these weird underwater uh, column systems, what if that was some sort of a submersion platform that the submarines could actually come and go? Maybe in some way.
All right. So, quick, Google search AI result. The wooden piers under Venice, known as timber piles, are long wooden posts driven deep into the soft, marshy ground to provide stable foundation for the city's buildings. So that's the mainstream narrative, which kind of makes sense. If you're going to build in a marshy land, cut down a bunch of trees, throw a bunch of wood down, you kind of have a more stable foundation. So,
Yeah.
And do you buy it? I don't know.
I don't know. I love the idea
makes
that
sense on his face, right?
I think it's
But
Captain. I like the Captain Nemo theory better.
Yeah.
Wait. Marble-like Istrian stone, limestone. They're saying some of these things are they saying it was capped with limestone?
Venice, the floating city built on wooden foundations. Well, I gotta let dog in.
They got to be. That's some old ass wood. That is some old ass wood.
So they're saying they use the wood and limestone, and that they were basically pounding these things into the barbarians were pounding them into the mud underneath to with this. It seems almost like insane.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm more inclined to think underwater advanced civilization of some sort. And I mean, I feel like the underwater thing's always been shady as to why we know nothing about our oceans
Right.
and don't seem to want to know.
Yep. And why are the naval intelligence so dangerous? So dangerous. They're
And involved in everything.
involved in everything.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. Now they're talking about this stupid volcano now over here. You saw that?
Yeah, buddy. Dude, that is right off the mark where
Eureka.
yeah, it's right off of Eureka. You were thinking it too, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago, I had a kind of an epiphany. Somebody shared a map of California, and in the road map was clearly the profile of the Emperor card, which I assigned to Northern California. And then on the chin of this road map profile of the Emperor's face, right at the chin, was Eureka, California. And Eureka
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
yes, and Eureka was Archimedes' epiphany phrase that he sunk himself in the water and he realized he can measure volume by submerging something in water. You can measure its volume, and he had this epiphany where he goes running through the streets naked, screaming "Eureka! Eureka! Eureka!" Well, this is all very profound because right off of Eureka, California, is a submersion plate where the whole whatever is going to be submerged underwater. And so, yeah, the significance of naming that location Eureka is kind of a veiled threat and a prophecy of sorts, I think. And they're telling us this is the year. This is the year it's going to pop off.
How far is that volcano? Is it offshore, right?
Yeah.
I think it's right by the fault line that they were saying, right? Because it might be even in the fault, like part of the fault.
Right. And it's due to explode too. It's overdue. It's past due to erupt. But I have heard, and I'm inclined to believe, what's his name? There's a channel. He claims that all of these underground bases, that they actually went in and dismantled Yellowstone. That they've taken the oomph out of Yellowstone actively, and I wonder about that. What's his name? I forget his name. He's the one who's always worried about the pole flip.
Oh, suspicious observers.
Thank you. Yes, he is adamant, and he does his research. He'll bring the receipts if you ask him. But he says that they actually turned off the super calderon of the Yellowstone, and if they did that, then it probably screws with the life cycles of all the volcanoes. You know what I mean?
Well, absolutely. According to at least like Dutch Synths and how he teaches how the earthquakes and volcanoes are usually working on this sort of wave system that follows the fault lines, and the energy goes, I think, east to west or something like that.
Yeah.
And it would affect it because if there's energy released in one spot, basically you'll have less of it released somewhere else. That's why he thinks there's less, I think, earthquakes, and they're not as large in certain areas as they would be because they're drilling on these fault lines, and he's like, they're letting energy out. So instead of one huge one, we're getting like 100 small ones.
Totally. Yeah. PK, do you ever watch Dutch Sense? No?
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been posting on much. I don't know where he posts now. Like once in a while, I'll see a YouTube video, but I haven't seen one in a minute.
Yeah.
I got into watching the Sunspot one, for a while. The guys talked about that, but it's like they're calling for Armageddon every
That's why I stopped.
and the sunspots are, it doesn't matter when you tune into it. It's like, oh my God, the sunspots are getting crazy, or the radiation is like it's really cranking it up, and it's like, so I don't know. It's like they're always crying wolf, and no one's gonna freaking believe them when something really goes down. That's how I feel like. But I don't know about this guy you were talking about, but
Yeah, Dutch sense is great. He has a globe that he can kind of roll and navigate. Like he's incredibly agile. That he can like zoom into this quake, go back forward and back in time.
Yeah.
But
He's good. He's good with
he's-
predictions. He's better. It's better watch. I like watching him better than someone like the suspicious observer guy. No offense to him or anything. Just it's
Right.
too much like this is gonna happen. We're screwed. Like you're saying. Like it's like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
doom.
Yeah,
Feels doomy. I know he doesn't intend it to be. I'm not saying that's his intention.
right.
But where Dutch gives you like a way to kind of predict earthquakes, and it's not necessarily like it's going to be anything bad. It's just this is how the energy kind of flows underneath the earth, and he's pretty accurate. I think they're now using his system without his permission. They're using a similar way to try to predict it with like USGS and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I highly recommend Dutch Sense, PK. I think you would really like his style because he is unique in that he has an entire system for predicting earthquakes, and he kind of exhausts himself with patting himself on the back, which is something you kind of got to do when you're the only person who sees something. You kind of got to also be the only person who pats yourself on the back. And he gets sick and tired of saying, I called it last week. I said in 5 days we're going to see a 4.0 over here in this area, and it's exactly 20 miles from the exact point. And so he's always like saying, I told you so, but he's not obnoxious about it, but he's just has to be his own keeper with his own information.
I will say he gets banned off like everything all the time, wiped off. They wipe videos, so he gets messed with. So I could totally see why he gets frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing, PK, I think you'll like is I think Dutch Sense is a nice, I don't know. It's like a treaty offering to the flat earthers. It's like if you want to take a vacation from their flat Earth perspective, I think Dutch Sense is a nice transitional drug because his system of predicting distances and echoes and ripples of these energies, it is spherically dependent. It is dependent on the roundness of the globe. And so I can see a ton of flatties being like, Dutch Sense he's a globe-tard. I'm not going to watch him. But he is getting results off of a model that is round. He's getting results. He's doing scientific prediction and proving and being proven correct over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So yeah, I think Dutch Sense would be a nice he's like the ibogaine for flat earthers.
And he could probably do it on a flat, because he is mostly on his flat map. But I mean, it is when you have like a huge event on the opposite side of the earth, you always see another one, and usually that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a lot would stem from those two large events, basically, in what he's predicting next.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. So there's like a lot of times one that's like a straight line through.
He's gotten like a key to a city, I think, even for like predicting something and saving a bunch of people, having them evacuate in time.
Yeah.
Somewhere overseas, somewhere. Yeah.
Yep. And it was
really?
Yeah, it was on the news. They even the people said like Dutch Sense told us that there was an earthquake coming. Oh shoot!
But yeah, it would be
it's me.
Oh okay.
Oh man,
we lost him again.
I know. I don't know. My internet was going in and out too for a minute. It's been happening a lot lately on whenever the hell I'm on StreamYard. I don't know why.
Yes. It's the drug dealers maneuver. What is that called? The gambit. It's the drug dealers gambit. They get you hooked on the good stuff, then they start cutting back on the quality and raising the price.
But yeah, and PK is straight through, usually like a complete opposite side of the earth is what he usually will say. Near a fault, I'm guessing it will be.
Yes.
Huh.
Oh, hold on. You just said the word fault. Like, I want to, yeah, man, what an interesting word. Like, okay, this is I'm gonna go into La La Land and hopefully I make it back.
I live here, so you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
hopefully I make it back. Hold on, let me grab something. All right. I've shared this with you guys, but we're talking about fault lines, right? One of the or the words for one of the descriptions of Jesus in the Bible is that he is the tecton. He's the great tecton, which
Really?
means maker or architect, kind of, right? PK, you're muted.
Yeah, I think it has to do with like completion though.
Okay.
Like
Oh,
he's not creator, more like a completer
whoa.
or something.
That
Yeah.
fits into some of our capoeira songs. That's neat. That's really neat. So fault, blame, right? It's your fault. You take on the blame. In the standard Enneagram. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? A is 1, T is a 2, and F is a 6. A, T, F. This is a Hornevian group in the Enneagram technology. This is the most compliant of the trines. The 1, 2, and the 6 is a trine. It's a group of the personalities that's the most compliant. So that's just with the standard gematria. If I was doing gematria on the Enneagram, ATF is a 1, 2, 6 grouping. But the same thing happens when I come at it with these prime letters. So these are the Greek prime letters. This is first prime number is 2. Second prime number is 3. Then the third prime number is 5. Fourth prime number is 7. Zeta, right? But so when I do the Enneagram with prime numbers, the same Hornevian group lights up when I do BLM. B is 2, L is 3, and M is the 13th letter, but that's the 6th prime. And so BLM and ATF are hitting from a first layer presentational immediacy into the second layer of immediacy with the primes or with blame and ATF. And now I'm thinking about faults, right? Whose fault is it? And there's a lot of acrimony around even the word fault, even the idea that humans are born imperfected or that we're born into sin. You know, there's a fault in our making that is part of the presumption that's laid on you when you go in a courtroom. I just think that's really something, that the fault lines are to blame for whatever the doomsday that everybody's calling every week.
And BLM as Bureau of Land Management is also interesting.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like blame your nativity. You know, it's your fault for being born in America. Don't be mad at me.
That's a good little connection there, going from the micro to macro, with the fault lines and everything. I wonder if we take it one step up, fault lines in the heavens, what would they be? Would it be some sort of meteor showers? Would it be some sort of rifts, like you can see the Milky Way?
Wow.
I wonder what the fault lines one step up would correspond to.
Man, I'm going to think on that for a minute. That's a cool idea. Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Wonder if the constellations wouldn't make sense if you had too many. No, maybe not.
Yeah. Well, there are distinct bodies of water. Like the Eridanus is one river.
Yeah.
It's kind of vertical, and then the Milky Way, it's not really horizontal. It's also at an angle. It's at a jaunted angle, but there are like certain bodies of water up there. That would be fun to try to map out, to really dig in on.
I have a
Yeah.
question. I have a question. Do you remember how suspicious observers said they deactivated the volcano?
No, I don't know. I don't know how they did it. I would love to see, to see what the receipts would look like for such a claim. You know what I mean? It makes me think of that they have some sort of uh, some drill machine that can go down and like take the pressure off, or maybe even a kamikaze drill that they make a drill that they don't expect to make it back, and then they can like come in under a magma chamber and poke a hole in the bottom so that the magma can get out, but they do not expect to see the drilling machine come back in one piece. You know what I mean? It's a one-way trip.
I mean, they do have the particle accelerators up there, like especially the one in Chicago. It's not too far from. I mean, it goes through like how many different states, I mean, we have them everywhere. There's so many of them.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, did you guys see that video about the federal government is going to prohibit states from regulating AI? Did you guys catch that one?
Dude, I saw briefly. I didn't check into it. Yeah, I saw that you shared, that guy talking about it. I haven't double checked anything, but it so lines up with the anti-boycott thing, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
So lines up. Like,
I've been hearing about this big beautiful bill.
Yeah.
And I think the BBB in there again is interesting, coming back from Build Back Better.
and it lines up with what I heard about on NPR with Israel using their AI facial recognition because they were screening so Hamas couldn't come get food or whatever, but they were using AI facial recognition, which we know it's out there, and China uses it or whatever, we're told. But man, that stinks of it. It goes hand in hand.
Yep.
And this gets back to how can the federal government, am I still coming in?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. And this gets into like, how can the federal government regulate tell a state what to do like that? And I think it all points back to the funding. It's like how can the federal government tell a state that, oh, you must accept this AI or whatever? It's because they give them money. That's it.
There's too many darlings of equity giving joinder to the big Fed feeder, the Fedders, man. And it makes me
think. What were
think.
your thoughts about it? Yeah.
Yeah, my thoughts were: does this? Oh man, I'm sure that I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong, but I have to say it anyways. It makes me ponder that. Does this mean that anybody who is onboarded the AI technology is automatically in some relationship with federal agencies by default? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure how to say this perfectly, but it's kind of a bait and switch where it's like, okay, here's this AI. Look how nifty it is. Oh, look at the cool new AI, and everybody buys into it. And then once they're all hooked, then it's like, oh, by the way, guess what? The feds are pulling all those strings. They're pulling all those strings, and eventually, does that mean that your bias, the info bias of AI, is the info bias of AI anti-state? You know what I'm saying? Is it gonna sway your decision making when the battle between the federal and the state kicks off again? And I don't know, but I ponder if that's maybe the play down the road, that something about AI is biasing people to the benefit of the federal government.
I think really to get to the bottom of it first, what we should do is probably read
More.
We should ask AI to tell us what this bill says.
So it's section 43201, which I think is interesting. 43201C is the section that that specific part is in.
Get
Dude.
out. Is it really?
Yeah.
Yes. And that,
Dude, what the?
yeah, in
No.
that sequence of numbers, I think that's just, it's obvious, right? It's a sequence almost counting down with one little twist.
Mhm.
Well, the same arrangement was the number of the airplane that got the helicopter crashed into it that night at Reagan Airport. And the number of the airplane, PK, the number of that flight was the exact degree of Venus's location when the flight crashed. Venus was exactly at that many degrees on the zodiac. The number of degrees of Venus that night was the number on that plane. And it was basically like, I think the number on the plane was like 53421. You know what I mean? It just had two little numbers switched out of sequence. And now this next build that's coming down has two other numbers kind of flip-flopped in the sequence. And then also, one of my craziest Twilight reveals was that counting down is actually a whisper for provocation. I call this the fight for threat to one's hero. And so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 that everybody says before every competition they ever engage in, before the starting gun. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 is whispering silently in everybody's subconscious. Fight for any threat to your hero, but it's also your eros, your love. It's also the void, the vacuum, the nothing. But yeah, it's a command order.
Yeah, it's TikTok.
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 Yeah, buddy.
Time's
So
running
I
out.
wonder if it has to do with anything with like NSA type stuff, or does it have anything to do with, you know how the federal just pushed the whole ID thing, real ID.
Yeah.
I wonder if it has to do with real ID, because that's another
I'm sure it does.
kind of overreach. Like the federal government's telling what the state should do with their IDs.
Mhm.
Epic and range of
You know-
labor pillars agree. So they're saying it's a 10-year moratorium, so that there would be a 10-year ban on making any laws for the states. I'm trying to see what the hell they're.
And, like I went and looked, because they pushed the thing back. They made it, and this is often what they do, right? It's they told us like, oh, you have to have a real ID if you want to fly, and then comes the date, and they're like, oh, well, no, you don't necessarily need a real ID. We're not gonna not let you board the plane. You just like have to go in this other line or whatever, So it's like they make a thing and then people do it because it's all about consent. We learn that, right? But I go and I look at my ID and I'm like, yeah, I got a gold star. I already have a real ID. I don't remember them like
Telling you that.
I don't remember doing anything extra to get my ID last time.
Yeah.
So you had one. That's
I
interesting.
have one.
Yes.
And I got it like it's not recently.
Yeah.
Over 5 years ago. I mean, it's maybe it's like 7 years ago or something. I don't know, but it's not like new.
Dude, and a state issued gold star.
I have a gold star.
Does that sound like anything from history?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're
That's what I'm saying. Here we go again.
Yeah, they are
Just like-
bludgeoning us with it. And I don't think they're telling us I think they're telling us that
Is that every state though, or is that just a Florida thing? Every
it's
state,
every
you
state
get the
has-
gold star. That means you have the real ID. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a 5-pointer. It's not a 6-pointer. So there's
Right.
plausible deniability. But I want to do some slick.
And you can use your passport, just so everyone knows. But the passports, they have a chip
Right.
in them now too. I think like the same way. So it's really not much different.
Yep. So I just want to point out, if you allow me to switch the D to a Z, right? The zeta, the four, D is a number 4, and the fourth prime is 7. In Greek, 7 is zeta. So if you let me switch the D in real ID to a Z instead. Real ID becomes Israel.
Wait, hold on. Let me check.
IZR.
All right. Yeah, we'll allow it. We'll allow it.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Good deal. Super heavy handed, y'all. They're super heavy handed. Yeah. I was pissed when I found that I already have the star on my ID. That
You have it too? I'm the
Yeah.
only one who doesn't have it?
yeah, it's already there. And I
So
already
you already had it too.
yeah, I didn't
See,
have to do
I don't remember like getting it or being like yes or whatever, but I don't know.
Nope, I don't know.
What was I thinking, that long ago? Was
Right.
I just checking the boxes and signing yeah, probably. And so
Yeah.
What corner? Where is it at? The upper right corner or something?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't have it.
I already make them cop me up. I play it real fun. Look them
oh
in their,
yeah, same.
look them in their eyes while they're doing it.
Yeah. Same. I don't go through. That's one thing I don't do anymore.
I
Just
should
go through the metal detectors. I'm like, dude, because I do kind of believe like that it does something to your your aura,
Oh yeah.
your flow of energy. It like zaps you.
Yeah.
So it's like important to ground and if you're gonna go through that stuff, but and even the little wand will do it to some other smaller effect, but
Mhm.
gotta do what you gotta do. I mean,
Yeah. I think for almost 3 years, it wasn't every single time. Like there might have been once or twice that I traveled in those 3 years that it didn't happen. But for 3 years, almost every time, 80% of the time I would go through the detector, there was something in my dick that they had to check. Almost every time.
Same here, by the way.
Yeah.
I have no idea why. It's bizarre.
Oh, I know why. I know why. I know why. And I make sure that they're embarrassed to find out. I make sure they're embarrassed to find out.
Yeah, it's insane, actually, how many times that happened.
Yep.
I was like, are you guys kidding? You gotta be kidding.
Yeah. It got to the point where I started to think I should start packing some socks down there just to make it extra bulgy, just to be like, so I got even more room to grin, to show them how much I'm enjoying this. Yeah. But PK, I got to say, I think I have a large weave around the TSA thing. Do you
I
remember?
thought you were going to say something totally different.
Oh well, yeah.
It's just like I was like, he's still going.
Well, let me show you guys. So, if you ever read Genesis 34. I think that the essence of the TSA spell is rooted in Genesis 34, where I forget the name of the king, the foreign king, but he has essentially raped Jacob's sister. He is transgressed in some extreme impropriety with Jacob's sister, and the only way and this king still wants to marry Jacob's sister. But in order to get permission to marry his sister, he has to come talk to Jacob and all his brothers and get the permission for these families to blend together. This is a trade agreement. And so Jacob and his very cunning brothers, they get together and they work up a plan. And then they have this king come into their presence, and he's going to say, look, I'm sorry I kind of raped your sister already, but I would really like for her to be my wife. And Jacob and his brothers are like, well, we cannot allow your tribe to sit at our dinner table if you're all uncircumcised. And so we will allow you to marry our sister, but first you have to go to everybody in your community and you got to circumcise all of those fully grown adults, all of them, without exception. And anybody who doesn't take the cut, they're out. You got to excommunicate anybody who doesn't take the snip. And so this king, he goes home and he starts a program. He puts up guards at all 4 of the gates, north, south, east, and west on the city. I'm envisioning the the circular urban design of Babylonian circular urban design in the city. But the north, south, east, and west gates, they got soldiers posted up. And if you're coming or going into the city, you got to pay this tax with the end of your dick. And they did it to all the men in a matter of a couple days. And on the third day, Jacob and his brothers, they get their swords out nice and ready, and they roll up in that city and they slaughter every motherfucking buddy because every man in the city's dick was infected. They didn't do it right. So they slaughtered everybody while all the dick infections were kicking in at the prime of the infection. They knew the timing to come and attack when the infection would be total for everybody.
Dude, is this a Bible story? Where are you going with this?
Genesis 34. I believe that when the doctor cupped your balls to give you permission to even play sports at all, I think this was the beginning of the Genesis 4 mind control spell. And the cupping of the balls, the turning your head to the side and coughing, this is ritualizing a bribe. I know that everybody thinks this has to do with your physical body. This is strictly psychological. The cupping of your balls and turning your head to the side and coughing uncomfortably. This is pantomiming a bribe. You're going to pay me. I'm not going to watch you pay me. And I'm going to cough uncomfortably while I collect on this unspoken exchange.
Oh, what do you think the finger up the ass means?
I'm not a lady. I don't know.
Wait, don't they? Isn't that how they check prostate?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's not for the kids. I think that's when you need it. I don't know. My prostate's good. My shit's good. But but what is it?
Well, I'm leaning toward like the turn your head and cough thing.
Yeah.
You know, you're saying kind of, is geared toward that or means this or that or like insinuates this or that.
Yes.
So.
And then now think of the shame and the embarrassment, the humiliation, and the externalizing of the hierarchy to put your balls in the hands of some full-grown man. And when I went to my doctor for the first time and he did that, I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm checking your marbles, son." And I'm like, "Oh."
I remember this one time I had like a good looking lady doctor and I was like, I was younger, dude. I was like a teenager. Yeah, she was like pretty. I was like, "You want to do that?" Okay. Like,
and she did?
Dude, it was, yeah, man, she did it. I
For
was like,
free?
I think she likes me. I was going to ask her on a date, but like, chickened out.
Dude.
Yeah. That only once in my life.
Oh my
But,
gosh.
good times.
I think I would have passed that test quite a few times.
Good times.
Okay. So my theory is that all of the shame encoding of this checking of boys' testicles repeatedly, by the way, you do it for when you're young, then you do it when you go into sports. So, and sometimes you transfer to another school, you do it again. Sometimes when you get for your job, you got to go do a physical, right? It's done constantly. And it's proving that you're healthy. It's proving that you're not sick. If you're passing a test, a physical test, to have permission to proceed. And sure enough, 9/11 happens and they bring Genesis 34 to all of the gates, all departing gates. When you go and get irradiated, and then they're going to check you, cop you up and feel you down. And not only that, they have a machine that penetrates through your clothes like X-ray vision, like Superman. It can actually see into parts of you that you can't even see. And then they're going to question you and decide whether you're well, if you're healthy enough to proceed, And I really think that the TSA thing is an extension of the checking of the children's testicles, that is an extension from circumcision, that is an extension from Genesis 34. Jacob was an asshole.
I hear it. I feel it.
Surplanter. Jacob means surplanter. And doesn't that speak to the overarching theme of what I just said? The surplanter. Prostate. Oh shit. PK. Prostate.
Here we go.
PK,
I
do you
know.
remember the prostate?
Yeah.
Dude, what
Yeah.
is up with the finger up the butt? What is that? And what?
And well, now we got on the world stage thing, Biden
Huh.
has some aggressive prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer. Okay.
Which doesn't really. I mean, it's almost impossible that this was not known about.
Oh,
And
so
that's
yeah,
what they say, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
they
So
say. They're like, oh, because it's in the bone, So what's the, and
So-
whether it's true or not, I always like to just think of like, okay, why? Why are they bringing this to? Why is this the story?
Yeah.
Dudes, hold on.
because we've been all saying he's been
Yeah.
gone a while now. Most of us.
Okay, I guys, there's much consistency, but only through the slick dissident extreme labyrinth. I mean, extreme labyrinth, folks. We are going into the branches of exploration that I don't broadcast, but I did share it with PK a while back. This is kind of silly. This is kind of silly. So this is an old project of mine where I took the constellations by size and I actually ordered them around the Enneagram, constellations by size. And Buotes is the 13th constellation by size, and 13 is the 6th prime. So I put Buotes in the number 6 spot. Buotes sounds a whole lot like booties. And it is a great void. It's the greatest absence of light in the heavens. It's an extremely it's a gap. It's a huge gap in the sky, Buotes. And also, I've always seen Buotes as correspondent to Hades because of that darkness, that it's an abyss, it's an oblivion. And I've seen Hades as correspondent to Joe Biden. And now here we are. They're telling us that he has Buotes cancer. He's got his prostate. And so, PK, I was telling you, I had this. We should find that
We should find that.
We should find
That was
one, dude.
That was a good one.
It was like
I
me
wonder
kind of.
how can we find it?
Oh, it was way back there, but it was me kind of blowing my own mind where I just come on on the voice message and I'm like, prostate, PK, it's prostate. The prostate is prostate. And the reason why this is consistent is the number 6 is the loyalist. They're the kind of people who only believe in one narrative or they're very single-minded. They are very prone to doubt. They're very prone to doubt. So if it's not a surefire thing, the loyalist has a problem with it. They won't onboard it. But that gives them the biggest blind spot. I think of the Apollonian loyalist is kind of has a archerer's mentality, that they're single in their targeting. They only want one answer for most things. But because they only have this narrow target that they're aiming for, they have the biggest blind spot of anybody on the battlefield. They even have one eye closed because they're trying to shoot so accurate. And so their blind spot is the butthole. And this is a trip because Buotes is, correspondent to the number 6. And then the prostate, it has the word pro-state, which is intrinsic to the loyalists. Yeah. I missed that with the Biden headlines. Thank you, Chris. I totally missed that.
Yeah, it's something.
It's putting Joe Biden's asshole in everybody's mind. That's what it's doing.
Yeah, they're making it. It's like now all the news outlets get to turn on him and call him an asshole or his family. It's like a scapegoating thing too.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And it's going to totally steamroll the auto pen narrative. You ought to open your prostate.
What's interesting? But I was looking at that bill, OBB. It's also known as O3B. O3B is actually a constellation of satellites, and they seem to be run by our Department of Defense, and which is now the section is the Space Force.
Damn.
Right.
There's actually a whole Wikipedia on O3B networks, multiple Wikipedias. Here, I could share really quick.
O3B, dude, this is the old, like they're going back to that whole build back better thing.
It also
Yeah.
is, it spells obey. O-B, and then a 3 is the letter E. So it even spells obey.
Totally.
Just like Joe Biden and Obey Ma, Barack Obama, they slipped the word obey into 2 presidential names.
Yeah, and then now they have 2 names for it because it was OBBB, and then now it's OBBBA, like ABBA.
Okay, yeah. Abacadabra.
And
Yeah.
I'm sharing the O3B because that was the original name, I guess, of the satellite thing right now. And you could see so it's a satellite constellation in medium Earth orbit.
Meow.
Yeah, like the cat. Trying to see if there's anything interesting in here. I mean, there's so much in here, but you could just see like.
What's the connection here? You're saying that the bill's name is like the same name as this thing?
I'm just was because they do have it broken down as an acronym on or is it an acronym or anagram? Acronym on the Wikipedia as O3 as OBBB or OBBBA, which is O3B. If you really, I mean.
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to see why the hell is it? It's such a weird name, you know. Like there's symbolism in the name somewhere.
And
like
this is wow. I mean, this could relate to the surveillance AI.
Well, that's what this seems to be for. This thing, I think, is a where was it? It said, KA band. Said it somewhere here that it was used for basically tracking. I mean, it's like connectivity for seems like satellite connections for communications. It's like a communications thing. But you also have Amazon Web Services, like partnered and connected with these things. Yeah. So that's that whole like AWS, like which has the provision in there about the zombie apocalypse, like all the nonsense. You also have these connected with the Mercy ships that are the ships. I'm bringing up ships again, but the ships that are like the hospital ships.
Yeah.
What is Global Mercy? Is that the same thing? The Mercy ships? Global Mercy.
This was the Boaz.
Yeah, this is like what they put on each side of the.
Yeah, and the other one. What was the name of the other one? One was Mercy, and one is Strength or Beauty.
I can't even remember because there was multiple even in other countries. They had them set up in Ireland apparently.
Wow, man.
So this is so it's all about cloud computing.
And did you say AWS?
Yeah, Amazon AWS is partner with them. Here's the SES Space and Defense.
Yeah.
They basically purchased it. It looks like
AWS is totally Crowley's little butt homunculus's name. AWAS.
Oh yeah, and the NOAA is involved.
Whoa!
And look at this, American Samoa, Tulsi Gabbard's homeland.
Dude, wow! Can you go back to the NOAA logo? Just float on it. So this
sorry.
Yep. So this facility. One of their headquarters is in Boulder, Colorado. And it is literally, if you would roll a tennis ball out of Benet Ramsey's backyard, if you rolled a tennis ball out her backyard, it would roll down the hill and land right in the backyard of this institution down the street on Baseline Road. And Baseline Road is the 40th parallel that Michael Wan and Ross Ben have buzzed on the 40th parallel. Well, it runs right. That road is the road that Benet Ramsey is on. And if you roll a tennis ball, it rolls right into the backyard of Noah right here. That's a tripped out looking logo too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So the only other thing I was seeing was like I was doing a little of the gematria and I didn't do O triple B. I just did O triple BA, which I think is equal to Belial, which is interesting. It's like the same numerical value as Belial in the Hebrew, at least.
Belial's the number 6, y'all. PK confirmed it with me. I know he doesn't remember, but yeah, Belial
I
was we ended up putting him as the number 6.
I like that you're in Kyle's stream and you're talking about someone mentioned the trust and mistrust of number 6, and I thought that was great because the whole first thing, we went from a fear. I'm like, oh no, that's too broad. Like you can do better than that. And they
Yeah.
were like, oh, we think doubt, but still, even mistrust is a form of doubt. It's even more specific.
Right.
Mistrust is even more specific because it's a form of doubt, which is a form of fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're doubting, you're fearing. If you're fearing, you could be doubting.
Yeah.
You could be mistrusting.
Yes.
Mistrust, doubt, fear. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
So I thought that was great. Whoever said that for number 6.
nice. I'm glad you resonated to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really, I mean, it hits to the core of the lover's card to the devil's card. One is a marriage, one is a divorce, and this is trust and then mistrust. You know what I mean? It really does. I think it boils it down very nicely. That was fun. If anybody missed it, go check out Kyle Denton's Tippecanoe Herbs channel. He had me on 2 nights ago, and we had so much fun. He busted out an amazing song. Did you guys hear the song?
Yeah, he did. That was great.
That was
That was
so
great.
awesome. Yeah, we had a good time. So check it out on his channel, Tippecanoe Herbs. And if it's also in my shared link with I think it's Slick's Orbital Go Live Anting link that you can also find it there. That was a good time. Big love, Kyle. Big love. Oh, and I'm going to share some kind of follow-up weaves from that. I asked Kyle that night about his opinion on the bumblebees and what's the state of the bees, and he was like, as far as I could tell, they're doing awesome. We're having a great year for the bees. And I was like, yeah, that's what I love to hear. And we kind of speculated that what if it's electroculture, electropermaculture, that is actually bringing all the bees to the yard. My electropermaculture brings all the bees to the yard, and the rest of the world is like, oh, the bees are gone. Where are all the bees? And it's only a matter of the bees have found their favorite places. They got their favorite haunts,
What if the bees are doing electroculture, and like when you do electroculture, you're like mimicking what the bees do?
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. It was the next day after Kyle and I talked about that. It was National Bee Day. It was
Yeah.
National Bee Day
Yeah, I
the next
saw
day
that.
on the 20th. Yeah, that was pretty fun. That was super fun.
Cool little sync.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Parker Carney goes backwards. Yes. Baseline Road is no joke. Baseline Road is hardcore. I used to live right off of Baseline. Yeah. What? Such fault. Oh, whoa. Wow. Fellas, thank you so much for joining me tonight. You guys feeling it? Chris, you got any hanging chads?
Not right now, no.
Okay.
Not right now. I have to catch up with some stuff this week so I can come back strong. I'm going to be gone next week. I think I told you guys. So if you guys go on, I'll be back. I'll be gone Monday through Friday in New Jersey. So working.
Oh, okay.
Then I'll be back.
Very cool. I think this episode is maybe my 367th video on the whole channel, on the whole Slick Distant project, which means I am 2 videos away from 369. And so because of this, I think I'm gonna pump the brakes and really crank up my intentionality for my next 2 videos. I want to do something really special for my 369th. So yeah, I also likewise might be just a little few and far between for the next couple installments in the Slick Distant video.
We should do a party for the 369, but prepare for it, of course.
Yeah. I heard something today that really hit hard on the 369. I thought of you, PK, when I heard this. It was it has to do with the Athenian statesman. It's not in the Republic. I think it's after the Republic. when it's Thucydides. It's in Thucydides, History of the Peloponnesian War. It's in his writing that he is bringing forward. It's not the Athenian stranger. It's like, that's it. The emissary from Athens is the name of the character in Thucydides' writing. And he makes this very bland statement. It doesn't stand out in many people's ears, but he defines the foundation of war is based on honor, fear, and interest. He says those are the three key ingredients of war: is honor, fear, and interest. And when he said that, my ears hear fear, and I think, oh, there's the 6, right? Like I anchor my thoughts when I hear fear. I'm like, okay, well, that's a 6. And then I'm like, okay, so is which one is interest and which one is honor? And I'm guessing that maybe because the remedial virtue of the number 3 is candor, honesty, authenticity. I'm wondering if honor fits on the number 3. If we put fear on the number 6, can we put honor on number 3? And if we do that, does interest land in the number 9?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what the Greek words are. Because if you're talking about honor, it's like basically he's saying like honor and fear, right? And he's kind of saying like those are the 2 things that people have, but then to actually kick off the war, you got to have interest, because everyone can have honor or fear, whatever. That's kind of normal or whatever. But then there also has to be this third thing.
Right.
And notice how like interest is neither good or bad. And then honor's good, fear bad. So you got good, bad, neutral. So I wonder what those words are in Greek.
Dude. Yeah. Maybe we should put some
that's a good one.
We should put some etymology together on that, because Robert Phoenix states that Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto are in their battle stations from the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and the World Wars. And that they're in the exact, each one is in their position from when those wars kicked off. And those are the 3 is Neptune, Uranus is the 6, and Pluto is the 9. And so I'm wondering if this claim that war is about fear, honor, and interest, I wonder if I can plug those in with Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune. And what if something comes out through the old words, through the way they used to address those things?
Yeah, so, I'm sure you could do something like that.
Yeah, we could maybe put some threads together for upcoming.
It's interesting. They have honor as timeo, almost like it's time, but it's also like it means they keep having like a value associated with it, or an estimate of value. So it becomes almost more like there's a lot of financial aspects to the way the language.
Honor is different than justice. You know, justice back then was a doing the right thing. And then so it's interesting this guy used the word honor instead of justice. You know?
Yeah, there are quite a few quotes. I'm getting into Thucydides, but yeah, we'll weave further on that maybe on the next time we all get together.
And maybe I'll talk about the I found the answer to the universe last Friday.
42?
And maybe we'll talk about that next time.
Was it 40?
Because it's like, well, it has to do with Parmenides and Parmenides and Plato and mushrooms and a bush.
Yeah, man. We got to start with that next time.
The paradox of paradoxes.
Yeah, buddy.
Was given to me in the form of many forms.
Yeah, I still got to watch that video you sent. I will.
Yep, that really makes the hat very appropriate. That the hat came back from your shamanic journey. Very apropos. Yeah, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
It was fun. Yeah.
Thanks for joining me, fellas. Slickdissident.com down below. PayPal, Cash App. In my baby onesies. All y'all mamas out there, come buy some onesies from my prophetic Slick Dissident sailing vessel ship.
Yeah, that shirt Enneagram is badass, dude. I might have to get me one.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh yeah.
If nothing else, my onesies make for really good Molotov cocktails. You put it in the bottle and then you light it with one of the.
Can you talk about? Can you talk about the quality a little bit? And are the tariffs from China, are they affecting your cost at all or what?
Luckily, no. No, luckily. Well, hold on. I shouldn't say that. Luckily, it doesn't affect much because it's like a print on demand thing. But apparently, there is something coming down about royalties that they are going to they're going to twist everybody's arm and jack up whatever we were asking for royalties. I don't know I haven't read the details, but I think I heard that you're not allowed to ask for more than 50% royalties for what you're offering, which that's crazy. That's crazy because I was because I got a project. I wanted to really lean in on the creative essence on a very inexpensive product, but I wanted to put all my creative juice into this one master project. And I was going to ask for huge royalties on it because it was going to be all the creative energy in one thing, but still be available for people to buy for not too much. I was going to go really hard on the royalties because I was so excited about my creative contribution to it. And now they're trying to kink that. I think. So yeah, there's some navigating coming down the road, but yeah, come buy 2 t-shirts, y'all. Get yourself a Zippo too.
Get them while you can.
Yeah, man. All right, fellas. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, we might not be back next week, but when we do come back, it'll be a big special occasion, y'all. For
Absolutely. Sure. Thanks for having us, brother. Good seeing you both. Good seeing all you guys in the chat too.
Everyone. Thanks for being here.
Much love, y'all.
Much love, y'all.